Beliefs in food. Food is a huge part of most cultures, and is a human necessity as much as it is a great way to celebrate any special occasion. In many cultures, food is eaten in honor of a god or goddess, ancestors, or even a simple job well done. Many of these celebrations become annual events in which the entirety of a society will take part. The Igbo Feast of New Yam and the American Thanksgiving are both very prominent in their selective cultures, and involve a great feast of celebration and thanks. To the Igbo, the yam is everything. They lived off yams, traded with yams, and even based their societal standing on how many yams one can produce from their lands during the annual harvest. The Feast of New Yam is a celebratory harvest festival held annually to give thanks to the earth goddess, Annie, for giving them such a bountiful harvest, as well as to commemorate ancestors for all the deeds that they have done for the clan. Before this feast was to begin, all remaining yams from the previous year would be thrown out. The new harvest year must begin with tasty, fresh yams and not the shriveled fibrous crop of the previous year. Yams were the main delicacy of the feasts, being cooked into fufu, soup, and many other dishes. Other foods like beans and maize, however, were also common sights within the sea of rich food. Here in America, we hold an annual celebration on the fourth Thursday of November every year to give thanks to all of those who have helped us in our daily lives, as well as, in some families, God and related religious figures. Called Thanksgiving, if the ideology behind that name eludes you, I must ask where you've been for the last 4 centuries. This day is often spent with close family and friends that come together before eating their evening meals of turkey and mashed potatoes to broaden relationships, talk with distant relatives, wear ugly sweaters, and give thanks to their ancestors for letting them be here today. In comparing these two celebratory givings of thanks, one can see that the basis for each event was quite similar. Both the Feast of New Yam and Thanksgiving originate from a celebration in honor of a deity and the ancestors of the people involved. Both feasts also tend to involve yams in one way or another. In sharp contrast to Thanksgiving, however, the Feast of New Yam involves the sacrifice of the ripest yams and palm oil at the shrine, before meeting with in-laws at a select house, the family bringing donations to the host to thank them for their generosity and to contribute to the feast. These festivities would go on for 2 days, the first day occupied by the feast and the second directly focused on an inter-village wrestling match. Thanksgiving, on the other hand, lasts only one day, and often does not offer much more than prayers, much less sacrifices to ancestors and gods. Another difference between the two holidays is that the Igbo would work laboriously all year and grow most of the food involved at the feast. We Americans, on the other hand, enjoy the luxury of grocery stores, butchers, and frozen foods and preservatives that allow us to feast our stomachs to the max days after the holiday has ended. Overall, however, when looked at side by side, these two holidays are at their core quite similar. Both events have massive feasts in which relatives gather and share stories, a time of thanks dedicated to gods and ancestors, and a physical contact sport that all men drool over at the end of the day, wrestling for the Igbo and football for the Americans. This is a strange situation. The two completely different cultures that have had almost no contact with each other, largely due to a time period difference, each have holidays that mirror each other in their practice and goal. This may root from the fact that we are all the same species or something like that, but what human aspect makes such similar cultural practices occur in such completely different societies? In the end, however, it seems that all similarities can be narrowed down to one thing: food. Food brings together families, nations, and even entire cultures. As it would seem, even the farthest spread of cultures is brought together by one thing that satisfies all humans, no matter how diverse: a good meal.